Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today as we come to the conclusion of the letter to the churches in Galatia. If you want to follow along, we'll be chapter 6, verse 11. As you find that, I ask you again to like, share, comment on the post. All right, let's look at this benediction. It's kind of uh, uh, a warning slash goodbye that Paul writes here. First thing that he says is, "See with what large letters I'm writing to you with my own hand." Paul begins this section by letting them know that this is so important that I didn't dictate it to someone else. I wrote it myself. I want you to know how important you are, and this message is to you. The church here was uh, dangerously um, toying with leaving their faith, bringing in false doctrine, destroying their witness. Um, Undermining all their work in missions. And so Paul says, ordinarily I dictate because of my vision, but I am going to write this myself because I want you to know how important it is, how important that you are, and how important that this message is. And to sum it up, Paul is saying, going to say to them once again, as he said in so many different ways in this letter, follow Jesus. Don't let anybody distract you. Don't let anybody get you off course from following Christ. And then he goes on. He tells them in verse 12, those who want to make a good showing in the flesh, who would force you to be circumcised, and only in order that they may not be persecuted for the cross of Christ. He says these folks, he says they look good. He says I know these people that are coming in. He said they look good, they sound good, but they are false teachers. He said they're just trying to be popular. They don't want to be persecuted for the cross. If you preach the truth of Jesus Christ, he says you're going to be persecuted. Look at me. I'm not talking about me. Paul says, "Look at me. Look at what I've been through. Look what I'm going through." He says these guys don't want to deal with that. They don't want to risk that, and so they're just trying to put on a good show for you and look good and give you pleasing words. And so you stay true to the word of God, to the gospel. He says, he goes on now in verses 14, starting there. He's going to tell them, he says, real believers, real preachers. He says they're not going to be like that. They're going to preach the gospel. They're going to, if they get persecuted, so be it. They're going to take that chance. They're going to be willing to do whatever it takes to proclaim the gospel and to pay whatever price it takes. All they're going to do is preach Jesus. Going to preach Jesus and Him crucified. If it gets them locked up, so be it. They're going to preach the gospel. You do the same. Don't worry about trying to be popular. Don't worry about trying to win friends and influence people. You preach the gospel. And then finally, he gets to the end and prays that they'll be blessed, that they will be successful, that God would pour out His blessing on them, and that they would move forward in the gospel, being true to the gospel, and that they'd leave behind some of this mess that was being taught in their church, some of these things that were going on, some of these false teachers that had entered in, and that they would leave that behind, and that God would bless them as they attempted to reach Galatia with the good news, with the gospel, of Jesus Christ. And really, if you read this letter, it just kind of ends quickly. It's almost like something happened, but Paul's going along, and then just hits this spot where he says, grace to you. Don't know what happened, but that's what it appears is that something caused Paul um, to have to lay down the pen quickly. But he wants them to know, and he wants you and I to know. Don't be distracted. Message of Galatians, very simple. Don't let anybody teach you any other gospel than what the gospel of what the Word of God says. Don't be distracted. Don't worry about being popular. Follow the Word of God. Know it, read it, study it, follow it, preach it, proclaim it. But take the Word of God and let it be our guide. Take the Word of God, as we say in Bible school, as the kids say when they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance, as a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And I can still remember as a kid. Uh, don't know that I learned a whole lot as a kid, but I do remember one thing from Bible school. What that means is the Bible will, on your feet, shows you where you are, and on your path, shows you where you're headed. That's what Paul prays for the church at Galatia, and that's what he would pray for you. And I join him in praying that all of us will take the Word of God seriously, read and heed his word. All right. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow, and we will jump right on into the book of First Thessalonians. All right. Have a good one. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.